You are lying in the dark. The house is silent. The screens are off, and you are waiting for it to happen. You adjust your pillow. Your mind begins its usual routine. You replay an embarrassing conversation from 5 years ago. You calculate exactly how many hours of rest you will get if you fall asleep right this second. You check the clock. It is 11:34 p.m. And then, suddenly, sunlight is bleeding through the curtains. The alarm is screaming. It is morning. You successfully traveled through 8 hours of time, but there is a glaring hole in your memory. You remember being awake in the dark, and you remember waking up to the alarm, but you have no memory of the exact moment you actually fell asleep. It is a journey you take every single night of your life, yet you have never once witnessed the departure. It is biologically impossible to catch yourself crossing that threshold. Despite happening thousands of times over a lifespan, the transition into unconsciousness is a biological event we are physically unable to witness. To understand why, we have to look at the architecture of the brain during the onset of sleep. Neuroscientists track sleep as a slow teardown of consciousness. When you close your eyes, different brain parts go offline at different times. Your frontal lobe, responsible for logic, is the first to clock out. You enter the hypnagogic state, a fragile bridge between two worlds. As you cross that bridge, your unguarded mind starts misfiring. You might connect completely unrelated ideas, hear a faint voice, or imagine you are falling, causing your leg to violently twitch against the sheets. During this phase, you are no longer the logical, waking version of yourself. Your consciousness is fragmented. And right in the middle of this twilight zone, your brain stops recording. Deep inside your brain sits a seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus. The hippocampus acts as an archivist. All day long, it takes short-term experiences and converts them into saved long-term memories. As the hypnagogic state deepens, the brain issues a specific chemical signal that forces the hippocampus to stop saving new files. The archivist packs up for the night. This chart illustrates the gap in your memory. Notice how the top line, representing consciousness, slowly fades, while the bottom line for memory recording drops to 0 while the engine is still running. Scientists call this phenomenon sleep amnesia. If someone wakes you up 3 minutes after the hippocampus shuts down, you will likely sit up and insist you were awake the entire time. Because your brain did not record those final minutes, they do not exist in your subjective timeline. We cannot remember falling asleep because the internal tape recorder is powered down several minutes before the mind actually loses consciousness. Why would biology result in a brain that gives itself amnesia every single night? If we remembered the process, we would experience every moment spent staring at the ceiling. We would feel the sensation of our own consciousness dissolving into nothingness. Sleep is a maintenance state. It is the time when biological systems clear out cellular toxins, prune unnecessary neural connections, and reset the mind for the next day. Expending energy to record this routine maintenance would be useless data. Recording the transition would likely turn sleep into an anxiety-inducing chore, leaving us exhausted by the memory of trying to shut down. Sleep amnesia functions as a psychological mercy. It is a biological trait that prevents the mind from recording its own dissolution, allowing us to wake up feeling like no time has passed at all. There is a deep contrast between this biological blind spot and the modern world. Today, we track our steps, monitor our screen time, and schedule our days down to the minute. But falling asleep is a process that actively resists willpower. You cannot force it to happen. The harder you concentrate on the physical act of falling asleep, and the more you try to observe the transition, the more alert your brain becomes. Sleep requires you to let go of the steering wheel. You have to lie still in the dark and trust that a silent biological process will take over and carry you safely to tomorrow. You have to surrender control. To truly fall asleep, the conscious part of you that remembers must step out of the room.